All right, let's get right into it. Today we're looking at what happens when the unstoppable force that is Donald Trump collides with the immovable object of the US court system. It is a total clash of titans, and trust me, it gets wild.
But hey, before we jump into the chaos, do me a quick favor. Smash that like button and subscribe right now. You are not going to want to miss what's coming up next.
So here it is, the big question for today, the question this whole thing is built around. What actually happens behind the scenes when you tell this guy no, especially when it's a judge doing the telling? The answer? Well, it's explosive.
Okay, Section 1, the number one unbreakable rule. See, it all starts with this one core principle. According to biographer Michael Wolff, there is a single, non-negotiable rule for dealing with Donald Trump, and it is the key to this entire story. And here's the rule coming straight from Wolff. This is the fundamental operating principle. It's not a suggestion, it's not a guideline, it is the baseline. You just can't say no to him, period. And what happens if you break that rule? Well, the consequences are immediate and they are intense. We are not talking about a polite disagreement or some kind of policy debate here. As Wolff puts it, he flies into a rage and goes off his rocker. So the key thing to get is, it is not a rational response.
Yeah, it's all systems go, full-on meltdown mode. So now that we've got that rule locked in, let's see what happens when the courts decide to break it. Not once, but twice. Which brings us to our main event, Section 2. Judges say no. Because recently, in back-to-back rulings, two different federal courts did the one thing you are never, ever supposed to do. They said no.
And these rulings hit two totally different areas of his authority. On one side, you have an appeals court striking down his signature tariffs, saying he flat out exceeded his power. On the other side, a federal judge declaring his deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles was straight up illegal. So first up, the tariffs. Rejected. The appeals court basically said the law he was trying to use didn't actually give him the power to impose them. That is a direct hit to a huge piece of his economic policy. And before the dust could even settle from that one, bam, the second blow. A federal judge rules that using the National Guard for that kind of domestic law enforcement was illegal. So you've got this 1-2 punch from the judicial branch. And just like that, the unbreakable rule has been shattered. All right, Section 3, presidential rage mode. So the word no has been said, loudly, by federal judges. So now let's go inside the White House, at least according to Michael Wolff's sources, to see the fallout. You know, this just says it all. When Wolff called up his contacts in the White House, the first reaction wasn't some legal strategy or a policy pivot. It was just a simple, ominous, uh-oh. They knew exactly what was coming. And that feeling of dread just keeps building. Another source he spoke to just used a kind of code, bad weather. Now, they weren't talking about the DC forecast, you know? This was a storm warning for the entire West Wing. The staff was bracing for impact. And here's why. For Trump, according to Wolff, these court rulings aren't just some abstract constitutional questions. No, they are a personal affront. It's not about the policy, it's about him being personally challenged and rejected. And this personal affront triggers what Wolff describes as a totally predictable playbook. It's not just about disagreeing. Step 1, declare war on the whole system. Step 2, do whatever it takes to upend the ruling. 3, reverse the decision. And finally, step 4, punish the people, the judges, the opponents, anyone responsible for saying no in the first place. So with all this drama going on behind the scenes, how did the White House officially respond when they were asked about Wolff's reporting? Well, this is where the story takes a very, very 21st century turn. So the press reaches out for a comment on this explosive story of presidential rage. You'd expect, what, a carefully worded denial, a statement about judicial overreach. What did they send back? Yes, you are seeing that correctly. The first part of the official response from the White House to a press inquiry was a meme. And here is the meme they actually sent. I ain't reading all that. I'm happy for you, though. Or sorry that happened. It's a completely dismissive, casual internet culture clapback as an official communication. But wait, that wasn't all. Because right after the cool, detached meme came the fire and fury. The tone shifted from 0 to 100 real quick. This is the full quote from Communications Director Stephen Chung. He calls Wolff and his editor lying sacks of shit and claims they have a severe and debilitating case of Trump derangement syndrome that has rotted their peanut-sized brains. I mean, this is one of the most aggressive and personal attacks ever issued by an official White House spokesperson.
So that's what we're left with, a bizarre combination of a dismissive meme and a deeply personal, furious meltdown. It perfectly mirrors the two sides of the story we've just seen, right? So the question is this combination of internet troll and angry tirade the new normal for official communications?
But what do you think? Is this the new normal? Drop your take in the comments below. And if you want more explainers that cut right through the noise, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.